What's up, everybody? I'm Michael Allen, and this is the Movie Minute. This episode of the Movie Minute, we are talking about new, under-the-radar crime procedural thriller, The Order. So, if you're wondering if The Order is worthy of a theater experience, stick around. This film is based on a famous book called The Silent Brotherhood, which is really about the underground domestic terrorist Aryan movement in the US, mostly during the 1980s. And so the film is really set in that space. It's brought to us by Justin Kurzel, who he's directed some interesting films over the years. He did bring us Assassin's Creed, which was, so painful. But he also brought us Macbeth, which was very poetic and very interesting. And so, he definitely is an accomplished filmmaker and has been doing it for a while. So he brings this new crime procedural thriller for us. I really try to catch every film that Sheridan is in. I really like him as an actor. Last year he was in the film Asphalt City, was this really gritty paramedic thriller, which really surprised me and was very intense. And so I assumed that this was in the same vein, and I was not mistaken. The film is really about, in the 1980s, there was a series of bank robberies and violent crimes going on in the Pacific Northwest, and the FBI kind of caught on and was like, are these just normal robberies? Or are they motivated by something else? And so it's really a dive into the underground domestic terrorism Aryan nation of the 1980s. Which is a very fascinating subject matter, I think, even in reflection of some of the things that have been happening today, right? And so it really piqued my interest, and it kind of went under the radar because Wicked and Moana 2 and Gladiator 2, so you got all these huge movies coming out, and this film kind of snuck in, and I'm pretty glad I caught it. So, without any spoilers, let's jump in and talk about what I liked. First off, I just want to say that this film is very poetic. It really is. I think Kurzel has an element about him that is a little bit slower paced, but in a good way. The film is slow, but it's a slow burn, and it's really a character study. It really is a study of human emotion, and it's executed very well. The story is strong. It was adapted well from the book. I think that there's a lot of really interesting storylines and elements going on. And so from an intriguing standpoint, I was absolutely intrigued and drawn into this world. I will also say it's just beautifully shot. I mean, the cinematography is absolutely amazing. It really honors the Pacific Northwest. It gives kind of this hauntingly beautiful nature of the Pacific Northwest, which, if you've been there, is very honoring of that place. It is very hauntingly beautiful. And so I felt that. And even a lot of the camera movements, there's a lot of unique camera shots that draw you into the scene. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was very much a choice by the director and cinematographer to pick specific shots to really ramp up certain emotions in you during scenes. And that's just prime filmmaking. And last but not least at all is the performances. I mean, Jude Law really is incredible in this film. I mean, the last time we saw him was like Marvel's, really, the big movie, right? And that did not fall so well. And so him coming back with something like this, I think really was important. I think Jude really is an incredible actor, and he showed a lot of emotion and a lot of nuance here. His FBI agent character is very complicated, and he really brought it. He did. And Sheridan as well was very good, and their chemistry together was good. I think has a really innocent element to him, and he brings a really unique look to those characters. He always kind of plays this innocent at first character that then changes over time, and that very much happens in this movie, and he executes it very well. So kudos to director and Sheridan. So let's talk about a few things that I didn't like. I think overall there were just two big problems with this film, And the first was that it was too long. I think when you're making a film that's a slow burn, the film is going to be on the longer side, but it just was a little bit too long. I think there's a couple elements in the middle of the story that could have been cut to really help us get to the end as well. I think that there wasn't very many things in this film that you didn't see coming. It still was entertaining, you just kind of knew where it was going and what was going to happen. And you don't necessarily want that with your audience all the time, right? You want us to be thinking what's going to happen because it helps us with that lean in moment. I think that the end of the film also, just in how the events play out, there's a little bit of pacing issues. I think in terms of scene order and build of like the energy building to something and then moving on to something else and really wrapping up all the storylines that are going on in this film, because there's a lot of character motivations and storylines going on that just didn't really wrap up so well. From an entertainment standpoint, I absolutely was entertained with this movie. It was a perfect film as a follow-up to kind of all these massive, huge blockbusters. It was very grounded, it was very intriguing, and I enjoyed a change of pace. And it definitely met that. And so I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10 for entertainment. I very much was entertained. From a critics rating as well, I mean, it was a solid film. I think some of the pacing issues really did pull it down, and the ending not being as satisfying as I wanted it to be. So I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 from a critics rating, but averaged out 7.5 out of 10 for The Order. I think that Jude Law and Ty just brought something really special to the screen here, and it's exciting. From a badge standpoint, this is going to be a couch potato, and the reason is I don't think it's something that you should rush to the theater to necessarily see, but I absolutely think it's something that you should catch when it hits streaming services. It's a good story. It's prime for a good movie night. If you are a Ty Sheridan fan or a Jude Law fan, or you're just like a big cinephile and you have a movie pass kind of like I do, I think it's worth a trip to the theater. But I think the general audience, see this on streaming and you will enjoy it. You'll have a solid movie night on your hands catching The Order. At the end of the day, The Order is intriguing. It is a lot of lessons on the current realities of racism in the United States, and it was a win overall in my book. So, if you liked this review, please hit that like button, subscribe. Would love to have you a part of this movie community with me. Let me be your movie guy. And until next time, everybody, peace out.